Hope you had a great weekend, and we are starting off the Monday pretty busy already with 7,000 workers close to walking off the job today at the Sterling Heights assembly plant. This is one of these surprise strikes that UAW President Shawn Fain had warned about, and here it is. This plant makes Ram 1500 trucks and is a major hit on Stellantis. Again, this is the second surprise strike that has been launched. It was almost 2 weeks ago that it was Ford's Kentucky truck plant when they walked out on a Wednesday evening. Now, the UAW says currently Stellantis has the worst proposal on the table with wage progression, temporary worker pay, cost of living adjustments. And as you see now that the workers are out there on strike in Sterling Heights, this brings the total number of striking UAW workers since everything began to over 40,000. All right, with me now is labor and employment attorney Brett Miller from Butzel Law Firm. Brett, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, as we look at this latest move from the UAW at this point in the 5th week, going towards the 6th week of the strike, what do you make of this move to strike at the Sterling Heights assembly plant?
Another aggressive move from the UAW. As you noted, it's been about 2 weeks since we saw a major escalation in the strike. Now, with another 7,000 or so employees walking out of one of Stellantis' most profitable plants, this is a big push to try to get the big three sort of back to the table and maybe play these companies off against each other.
You know, again, I guess you could probably say in the non-technical terms of the biggest game of chicken here, when you have companies like Ford coming out saying, look, this is all we've got. What do you say, Brett, when a company finally says this is the final offer? How does the UAW know how to take it? Because Shawn Fain obviously thinks they've got more to give.
That's exactly right. And if you're Ford and you've made what you're considering one of your last offers economically, that you're sort of at the end of what you can offer, it doesn't give you a lot of options. Now, of course, there was some awkward timing. Shawn Fain and the UAW will point to just around that time, Ford announced $600 million dividend to kind of say there has to be more money there. Of course, Ford and the other big three companies take the position that this is a time where they have to invest in the EV transition, which is very expensive, and they don't want to mortgage their future to do that. So are the parties really coming to that impasse? And if so, what does that mean for the strike? Will we be in for a longer period? It's going to be very interesting. And of course, you have UAW workers some who have been out now for almost 6 weeks and want to get back to work or living on $500 a week on the strike fund check. This could be a major impact for both our region and these workers and the companies.
Yeah, Brett, talk a little bit more about what I think could be strike fatigue from a number of workers who you say who have been out and the concern of how long this could last.
I think strike fatigue is a great phrase, right? We have some of these employees who, for instance, if you're at the Toledo plant and the first plant to go on strike, you've now been out for weeks, and other workers who have been working the whole time and are just now going on leave. This is a big departure from the past where you have the UAW pick one company, everybody goes out on strike at the same time, and you have this sort of sense of we're all in it together. Now there's this disproportionate burden of some employees have had to bear more of this, be out longer, and there's definitely some grumbling that we've heard from the rank and file on how that's working. Will that pressure either side to get a deal done remains to be seen. So far, the UAW has maintained its position and its rolling strike, but that fatigue could be an issue as time goes on.
All right, and we're going to continue to watch it, of course. Brett Miller from Butzel, thanks so much for joining me, and I appreciate your expertise on this. We'll be talking to you in the days to come.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, and talking about the workers who are heading out on the picket lines right now, let's head on over to Sean Lay, who is live right now at Sterling Assembly. Sean, we knew that this could be a big target, and the UAW pulling the lever on this today. What are workers telling you?
I'll tell you what, very interesting morning here, Christy, and we had heard some rumblings early this morning that this could happen, that the UAW could call a stand-up strike or a targeted strike here at this massive assembly plant that makes the Ram truck. So workers are telling me this morning they were on the job, on the line, had just taken lunch this particular shift at 10 a.m. when the leadership and some members got text messages and calls that said, "You are on strike, walk out right now." catching so many off guard. Now, they're ready for this, but wasn't sure if it was ever going to happen 5 weeks into this, Christy. So the employees were caught off guard. They were surprised. Shawn Fain's then right at the front doors here as they're walking out, grabbing signs and then walking down the street. So this place pours out hundreds of employees right away initially. Now, that's kind of thinned out as they're now making strike schedules. But right away here, big show of force walking off the job and Rams not being made in there currently. So the one reaction was surprise, caught off guard a little bit because they had thought they would get about 24 hours notice and some strike instructions, but they didn't at this time. So two things to think about this, Christy. Is this a power move? Most employees said yes, because this is the moneymaker for Stellantis. They want Stellantis to, as you put it out in the beginning here perfectly about what needs to happen here, but the 23% raise is on the table. Other issues are here, but they're saying, look, if no Rams coming out of here, this is going to hit Stellantis where it very much hurts. In just a few days, dealers are going to start looking for Rams. So they were surprised, and now really not surprised. They've been waiting their turn. How long they're going to be out here? Off camera, some people say, oh boy, this could be a long haul. They hope not. Others say by Friday, they hope that things are wrapped up. Others say Christmas, we're ready to stand out here during the holidays. So a little bit of surprise. They're waiting their turn, and now is it a power move or is it a Hail Mary? Hoping they're going to push Stellantis across the finish line here. Christy?
Yeah, and we know that the negotiations will be ongoing on this one, Shawn. But I do think it's really interesting, and I'm sure as you start to talk to people a little bit later on this afternoon, is that when you talk about that strike fatigue and how long things will go on, are you still hearing that there is major support for Shawn Fain and the tactics that he's taking in this bargaining process?
That's interesting because we listen to Shawn Fain, right? He talks very strongly, right? He talks in a big, bold way, and workers are saying this place struck in 2007, 2008. They said they didn't have the public support. Now they say because of the economy and because of what Stellantis and the other big three or other two are making as far as profits, that they do have the public support, and they support Shawn Fain. They love his tough talk. They love how he's holding the feet to the fire of the executives here, and they're setting the table for the younger employees. We're talking to veteran employees here. So they do support him. They like the leadership they're getting and the message that's getting across and the tough talk, trying to get that salary as high as possible, those hourly wages. So they like that. Friday, I got to tell you, I was at Pontiac Redistribution Center. Started to rain there. Shawn Fain was supposed to talk at 4 o'clock. He started talking about 4:25. He talked for about 30 minutes. There's about 4 strikers out there around a barrel on fire. It was cold, rainy. They're watching, and they kind of got deflated. You could just see. And I said, guys, what do you think? He said, we thought we were close. The message we were getting is, you're going to be out here for the long haul until we get this done. We're not going to budge on what we want, so this is going to take even longer. So you mentioned strike fatigue. We're doing a whole piece on that. No strike fatigue here. It's day one, but what happens if this goes in 5 more weeks here? So 10 weeks. Let's see how people will feel at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Shawn Lane, I know you're going to be on it today. You're going to have reports for us on Local 4 News at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock. So we'll see you a little bit later. Thanks so much. All right, and as Shawn was talking about, where negotiations stand right now, just to, update you and refresh you that all 3 automakers now have put on the table a 23% pay hike over 4 years. GM and Stellantis have now met Ford's offer on this one, but as Shawn Fain has said, he believes the companies have more to give. Make sure you check clickondetroit.com for live developments throughout the day.